Hello and welcome back to another episode of Even Tacos Fall Apart. I'm MommaFoxFire and I'm genuinely thrilled to be here with you today, especially as I record the intro and outro to this on a special day. It's Christmas. So I want to take a moment to wish everyone a joyous holiday season. I know that not everyone celebrates Christmas. Whatever holidays you celebrate is just fine with me. And I also know that not everyone finds this time of year easy. And it's okay if you're not a fan of the holidays or if the season brings up some mixed emotions. It's perfectly valid to navigate the holiday season in your way, whatever that means for you. As we approach the end of the year, it's also a time for reflection. And if your greatest accomplishment this year was surviving, I want you to know that that is more enough. You've shown incredible strength, resilience, and that is truly something to celebrate. Now, on to today's episode. We're exploring a topic that hits close to home for many of us, myself included, and that is procrastination. I'm doing the sparkle fingers. You can imagine it in your head. I'm joined today in a conversation by a remarkable guest, Katy Andrews. We unravel the complexities of procrastination and explore some practical strategies to overcome related challenges. Katy shares her own transformative journey, offering insights that are both relatable and empowering. We touch on the intersection of procrastination and ADHD and talk about a collaboration that's coming up that will hopefully provide some valuable resources for those navigating both of those worlds. Whether you're a seasoned traveler on the winding road of self-discovery or someone just starting their journey, there really is something for all of you in this episode. Katy's wisdom and authenticity shine through, making this conversation not just informative, but deeply inspiring. Stay tuned as we unravel the layers of procrastination and embrace the power of self-belief. I hope this episode resonates with you as much as the conversation did with me. Before we get into it, just a quick heads up, the audio quality in the upcoming recording is far less than the best. This interview was recorded a while ago, before some equipment upgrades, so the intro and outro are going to sound a little different from the audio of the interview itself. It's because of your incredible support that I was even able to upgrade that equipment. So if you enjoy what I do, you enjoy this podcast, you enjoy the show, and you want to be a part of making it even better, please consider supporting directly on the tacosfallapart.com website. And if you can't do that, no worries. Liking, sharing, rating, subscribing, reviewing, those are all free ways that you can support the show. And the encouragement that I get from those really does keep me going strong. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everything that y'all do as listeners and as community members. This show would not be what it is without y'all. Without further ado, let's listen to my interview with Katy. Everyone, welcome to another Mental Health Monday on Even Tacos Fall Apart. I'm super excited to have you here. I'm really looking forward to our conversation tonight. We are going to be talking about procrastination versus confidence and self-belief, which I think is something that probably everyone could, find something that's going to help them from our conversation, I hope. We do have a guest tonight. This is Katy Andrews, and originally from the UK, now traveling remotely as the wandering coach, and right now she's in Bali. Whoa. Katy has been traveling the world since 2022, living out her own goals while helping others live out theirs. Katy is an INFJ personality and therefore works very well with empaths, spiritualists, and advocate type personalities, as well as introverted personalities. She's had to deal with many challenges in her life, such as toxic environments, adversity, difficult relationships, confidence, being overworked, self-esteem, procrastination, and more. She has dealt with procrastination for around 2 decades and has created a 3-phase program named Procrastination to Power. Katy uses this to propel clients closer to what they want and further away from what they don't want. So let me share some socials with you if you're looking to connect with Katy. I've got her website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of that good stuff. And Katy, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you so much for having me, MommaFox. It's an absolute pleasure today. Thank you.
Absolutely. So for those of you, see, now I knew I was forgetting something, and I'm gonna do it real quick, and then I'm gonna hit open, and now I can say, we have a question queue open for those of you who might have questions that you want to make sure get asked. Feel free to type in !Q, follow that by your question, and we'll make sure to get it asked here as well. And Bite Mark, thank you for being here. She says, can I just say the stream about procrastination starting a couple minutes late is just excellent. Yes. Yeah. Yes, a couple minutes late because technical difficulties happen, y'all. I don't know what you want me to do about that. Oh. And she has already entered a question into the queue as well. So she would like to know, what is your favorite poem?
I wouldn't say I have a favourite poem. What I would say is I've got a favourite saying, Mama Fonks, and that saying is, if you do what you've always done, you'll get the same results. And I think that's linked to Albert Einstein and also a little bit of Tony Robbins, and it's true. I think they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. So that's the big thing for me. So no favourite poem per se, more favourite sayings, but that's the number one for me, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a good one. And it is definitely one of those things that I've heard that said several different ways and attributed to different people. And it's kind of one of those things you just listen, it's a great quote and you take what you need from it and and it's all good. Oh, okay. It just dawned on me what maybe the issue is with okay, hold on. All right, hold on. We're going to troubleshoot for one more second. Give me just a minute. Okay. Y'all are going to see like behind the scenes here. So bear with me. It's fine.
Exclusive.
I wonder if I put this to here. No, that doesn't work. Never mind. What if I change this? No, that doesn't work either. Okay, well, I was hoping that I had just entered my brain what the problem might be, but it's not.
At least you tried.
Yep, at least we tried. That's fine. So, all right, let's get into it. What led you to become the Wandering Coach and focus on helping other people with procrastination and helping them focus on confidence and self-belief?
So there's a few different things really, but if I take it right back, it was actually the pandemic and COVID-19 that was the start of the Wandering Coach and the start of my own journey, my own travel journey around the world and the planning for it, because as you know, we spent several years pretty much indoors, in and out of lockdown, certainly in the UK. 1 minute we're locked down, the next minute we can go out, we don't know if we're coming or going. And, other than trips to the supermarket, spent a lot of time indoors, a lot of time to reflect, on my life, where is it going? Am I happy? A lot of soul searching went on. And I realized and a lot of the things that are good in, I sort of wanted more from life. I felt like there was something missing. And after more soul searching, I realised that I wanted to travel the world and I couldn't do that living the life that I had because you only get so many days holiday per year and I couldn't do the exploration that I wanted. And then I started to think, well, I enjoy coaching. I've worked as a coach for many years for different organisations, but I wanted to do it on my terms because in the past, whether it's a coaching job or other jobs, I've always ended up with burnout, where as a procrastinator and a perfectionist, I take too much on, I want to people please, and I'd end up in this cycle of burnout where I'm just no good for myself or anybody else. And I just realised that actually if I want this life of no burnout, I need to maybe consider getting out there, working for myself so I can coach people on my terms and show up as my very best self rather than going from one coaching session to another. And people can pick up on that. It doesn't matter how good you are. People can sense that you're lacking in energy. And I just want to do the best by people, really. So, COVID-19, as difficult as it was a light bulb moment for me. And, also as well, like I said to you, I've coached for many years. And when I was working in HR, I realised that I wasn't so keen on the firing part of HR, the not so nice part.
Yeah.
I was happy with the good side, the sort of uplifting people and coaching managers and guiding them to, be autonomous and, same with employees, giving them the confidence to go for new roles within the organisation and stuff like that. So, I thank my time in HR for that. It made me realise that my true path in life is coaching, really. So it's all aligned with me and my journey, but it's taken a long time to realise that. It's taken 18 years of different roles to realise that. And also as well, having been through procrastination and low confidence myself, I realise how much it holds people back. Sometimes people don't even realise that they're procrastinating or they're stressing or the low confidence. Sometimes they blame themselves and feel like there's something wrong with them, something within the core. But actually, it's a mental health condition that a lot of people go through. I think it's around 20% of the population go through procrastination at one stage or another. So yeah, quite a lot of things really has made me to go down the wandering coach route. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. And I love hearing, COVID, of course, was not a positive thing, right? But I love hearing when people have found something positive to take out of it with them, to move forward with something out of something that is on the whole pretty negative, right? I mean, that's something that I've done multiple times in my life, is like a bad thing will happen and I found something good to take out of it. And it's like, yeah, the rest of it sucked, but at least this one thing came out of it and it was good, So I'm glad to hear you say that you were able to make the best that you could out of that. That's really cool.
Absolutely. And another thing as well is, and this is more of a recent discovery, if anybody is not tapped into human design, I highly recommend it. It's all linked to sort of astrology and, the time and place of birth and stuff like that. If anybody's into that sort of woo-woo kind of thing. And, it kind of cemented it for me when I got my free report that I am on the right path, because it was saying things like you should be a coach, a mentor, a leader, a teacher. And it just makes you think, wow, yeah, I am doing what I'm aligned to do. That's a big thing, right? To be doing what you feel you're here to do.
Yeah. I haven't heard of that. So human design, is it the myhumandesign.com? Is that the website?
If you go on my website under free
on yours, okay, good.
I'll put a link there.
So perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Completely free, and you could do your report. Yeah, rather than doing a Google search.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, if people do want to pay, there is like an expanded report. The free one is pretty decent, to be fair. Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that I'm always interested in, those sorts of things. I don't know that I consider myself to be overly woo-woo, but I do like to look into that kind of stuff. And there's always something that's true in it. That's the thing, is that every time I look into anything, I'm like, yeah, that resonates, honestly.
Scare, honestly, I did my report and I was like, well, that couldn't be more true, could it?
Yeah, it's always incredible. What do you enjoy doing when you're not busy traveling and coaching?
Good question. Quite a lot of things, really. I mean, travel is a big part of my life. So every day, I do like to break away from the computer and I like to do something travel related. But if it's not particularly travel related, I tend to like maybe go to the beach, do a bit of grounding, be around water a lot, because it really clears my mind. And I think sometimes as a procrastinator, you need that. You need to get rid of all the fog that's going on. So being around water and making the most of my environment, which is completely important to me. And, also doing things like giving back. There's a lot of stray cats here in Bali, so I like to try and find them if I can and feed them. Plus I like cats anyway, so they're giving as much to me as I am to them. And yeah, just being in nature, just being at one and just kind of practicing mindfulness and meeting new people. So I take the travel thing and run with it and go, well, what can I do now that I didn't have before? I'd be stuck indoors a lot, working remotely before in the UK, and I'd find that I'd end up sort of almost recluse-like and not getting out that much. So the fact that I can really get out now into nature and there's no excuse, it's just completely different life for me, really. What else do I like to do? I also, well, I touched on this already about the human design, but I'm really into the spiritual side of things. And it's something that has been linked to my travel journey. So I like to tap into that a lot. I like to increase my awareness and just kind of appreciate the world a bit more. Because when I used to work in the corporate world, I'd go to work and I think I'd miss out a lot of things. I'd just be like pigeonholed on getting to work. So now I like to sort of look out for things, appreciate nature, and look out for little signs that I'm on the right path. And I do get that quite frequently, whether it's feathers or synchronicities and stuff like that. So yeah, just tapping into this sort of new side of me, being a lot more aware, I think.
Yeah. I love that you talked about the stray cats, because we went to Puerto Rico for our family vacation just recently, and we were passing all of these horses, and they were all tied up and they were all looking really scrawny. I was like, listen, this is why I will never be rich, because if I had a lot of money, I would spend my whole day just driving around Puerto Rico feeding all the horses. I wouldn't take them because they clearly belong to someone. But I would spend my whole day, my whole budget of whatever it was, buying feed and going and making sure that all these horses had food and water. That's just what I would do.
Nice though, isn't it? It's nice to give back to animals. They're sacred creatures. They're different to us. They don't judge us. They appreciate us.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have that connection, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Whereas my husband's different. He likes the dogs. He's a dog.
Oh, so. Well, I've got you can't really see him, but there he is. That's one of my dogs right there.
Oh, there we go. Oh, completely spotted.
There he is.
Hello. Welcome.
We have 3 big dogs and 1 cat, Tyrion. The other 2 dogs are too hyper to be in here, so they're out there, but Bo is my chill dog. He's my sweetheart. So
podcaster, yeah.
Yeah. Animals are better than people, 100%. Yes, totally.
Unjudgmental, basically.
Yes. Yeah, and they're just so they can pick up. At least dogs can. I don't know if cats can, but they can just pick up on what you're feeling, and they make it clear, hey, I'm here for you. They don't care why you're sad. They don't care why you're upset. They're just I'm here. I'll chill with you. It's going to be okay. And sometimes you just need that support, whether it's from an animal or from a person. Sometimes you just need somebody to be like, I'm here for you. It's okay. It's going to be okay. We'll get through it.
Pleasant distractions, basically.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for that. We need to switch the brain off sometimes, and animals are great for that. Tickle my belly and everything will be forgotten.
Exactly. Do you have a serial killer or true crime story that fascinates you?
I was thinking about
there we go.
And yeah, I think the main one that comes to mind for me, quite a controversial case really, is the Madeleine McCann case. And the reason I say that is because it's been going on for such a long time. I don't know if you know the Madeleine McCann case.
I'm not familiar with it, no.
Okay, well it's mainly sort of UK and European based, but essentially a beautiful young girl with a unique sort of mark in her eye, like a little sort of slit in her eye is the best way to describe it, around the iris. She went missing decades ago. Her family went on a holiday to Portugal, family holiday, couple of children, and they deemed it was safe to go to a restaurant and put the children to bed on the complex. They didn't necessarily lock the doors and things from what I'm gathering. They just stayed in the complex, had a meal, and periodically checked on them. And yeah, one night this Madeleine went missing and she was never seen again.
Oh, wow.
To this day. So yeah, there's been lots of speculation over the years. Is it the parents? Lots of different people that have been brought forward as suspects. And to this day, it's never been resolved. And most recently, there was a girl who looked a bit like her, not identical, but bearing in mind she would be years older now, who was claiming to be her. And she went through blood tests and things, and it wasn't her apparently, but she thought she might be. So yeah, just an interesting case, because it makes me think, were they right or were they wrong to do what they did? But they've got to live with that guilt now for the rest of their lives, you know. But it would be nice if one way, shape or form she was found, because it'd be good to put that case to bed. But yeah, that's the one that stands out for me. So I don't know if any of your crowd, Mama Fox, are familiar with this case. It was quite a big case, to be fair, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but I can say as a family member who had a family member go missing, and his remains weren't found for 5 years. It's good to have things found, even if it's a not so positive outcome. It doesn't mean that you have answers, though. I'll put it that way. Like, my grandfather's case is still open. We don't know what happened. We don't know, you know, there's lots of suspicion, but we don't know exactly what happened. So, yeah, prayers for that family that they eventually get some closure. Because at least for our family, I think it was nice to have a little bit of closure, and, you know, at least we know where his final resting place is now.
Yeah, it must be torturous for the family, but like I say, they've been in the firing line as the suspects as
well. I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Still to this day feel like it was the parents that did it.
Yeah.
But whether they did it or not, they've still got to live with the decisions that they made. And it's just interesting to think that a complex, because it was quite a big complex, that, you know, they were literally yards away really from where they were staying. And that's happened, and, you know, there's sort of suspicious side of me thinks, well, what if somebody was watching their patterns and being an opportunist, you know? Because it's just interesting how suddenly, you know, she goes missing at that moment. The parents have previously checked on her, and, you know, the timings are too impeccable with it, really.
Right.
So, yeah, I could speculate all day about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's
even.
I was just going to say that's something.
The way the case was handled by the authorities as well. You know, they left it quite a while to investigate certain things, and it's just like, why did they leave it so long?
Oh,
to
interesting.
Do what they needed to do, and the analysis and fingerprints, etc. Yeah, it was all a bit wishy-washy, really.
Yeah. Man, that's heartbreaking. I agree. By time answers is better than no answers, but all of the answers would be better. Yeah, well, I mean, I hope that family gets some closure at some point, for sure. I had never heard of that one. I'll have to look into it, and hopefully, you know, she's found someday, happy, healthy, and just not knowing who she is. You know. So procrastination, turning kind of to the topic at hand tonight, procrastination is a common challenge for many people. I know that you said something like 20% of people struggle with procrastination. I'm surprised that's not higher, but maybe that's just because I procrastinate, so I feel like everyone does. But what are some of the key reasons that we might procrastinate?
So it can vary from person to person, as we know. You know, we've all got triggers, and that's the main thing here. We all have unique triggers that make us procrastinate, right? Essentially, it's a stress thing, it's a mental health thing. So I think some of the main things is, you know, we might have something that we don't enjoy doing, and therefore we put it off. You know, we put it off and we put it off to the point where, you know, we almost blow that task out of proportion and make it feel like it's bigger and more challenging than it really is. You know, and rather than taking that task and going, well, I hate doing this, so I'm going to do this first because it bugs me, and then feel elated because you've got rid of it, we do put it off and just make it, you know, bigger than what it really should be. And also, I think people procrastinate due to a lack of confidence, because the more you put it off, and the more you don't feel the sense of achievement, it can impact your confidence, right? Because you think, I'm not good at this, I can't do this, you know, I'm just being lazy, and all these different things that you associate with procrastination. So it can have an impact on confidence. And also it can be caused by other factors, such as, you know, maybe being a job that they hate. You know, there's been a lot of redundancies around the world, and I imagine that's making people procrastinate, because they're thinking, when am I going to get a job? I've got the bills to pay, and just like this tangled web of stress and procrastination, and being in toxic situations, from personal experience. When I worked in toxic environments with, really difficult cultures, toxic management, I would find I procrastinate more because I'd be getting pressure put on me to do more and more work, being a perfectionist, a people pleaser, partly to blame as well. And it's almost like the toxic management would feed off that, give me more, and then I'd end up literally sinking and feeling bad because I've got a never-ending to-do list that I can never get on top of, which is sparking the perfectionism. And it just becomes this cycle and this mess of procrastination. And I think the more you can realise that and realise what's causing it, the more you can move forward and get away with it. Get away from it, sorry. So yeah, I think it's very much dependent on the person, really. You're laughing there, MommaFox. Can you relate to some of this? Or...
Oh yeah. I mean, especially the never-ending churn of a to-do list or something, a task that never really is like, okay, I'm done. I can put it away and not think about it anymore. If it's something that's just repetitive, that you're always having to do or always having to refresh or something like that, that's what I wind up procrastinating the most, are repetitive tasks. But yeah, I mean, even the stuff that you wind up putting off because you are dreading it, you're totally right. If you just did it and got it out of the way, then you can enjoy everything so much more rather than the other way around. Absolutely. But the reality is not that.
It can be difficult, but this is when I personally find having a robust plan every day gives me that control, makes me feel like a sense of achievement because I've got that control. I can plan my day right, and actually being kind to yourself and saying, well, okay, there's only so many hours in a day. What are my priorities and what can I defer to the next day? Because you can't get everything done. So it's all about prioritization, and that can take time to work out what the priorities are when you've got a lot of things going on. It's just giving that a little bit of bit of thought, really, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. For those who do feel stuck in these habits of procrastination, myself included, what is the kind of first step that they might take to break free and start making progress towards their goals? You mentioned a plan. Is the first step to plan, or is it something else?
The first step is working out what's causing the procrastination. So until you know what that is, it's very hard to plan or strategize and move forward. So if I give you an example, one of my main things was stressful environments. And stress is hard to eradicate completely, right? But if you know what is the cause of the stress, so say in some cases mine was toxic working environments, I can go, okay, so the situation there, how can I handle that better? Am I that happy that I need to maybe leave there first? I've got a different environment and I can have a lot more headspace. Like, what is causing it, so that you can eradicate it if you can, and then start to plan and move forward. Because if you don't do that, you'll do what I did and just keep going from job to job, toxic environment, and things don't get better. It just gets worse and just feel worse. So yeah, find out what's causing it, and if you're having any trouble with that, because sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees, speak to somebody that you trust, and actually give them the situation, whether it's a mentor, coach, family member, friend, so that they can give you an opinion and help guide you and navigate and support you to where you need to be. So that would be my suggestion first, root cause, then you can move forward.
I like the suggestion of talking to someone, either someone who knows you and can maybe help you figure out, why do you procrastinate? But then talking to someone, if you don't have somebody that you know and trust who can help you with that, talk to somebody about it and see if they can help you figure it out. Because I might be hard pressed to say, well, here's why I procrastinate on XYZ task. But if I ask my sister, I ask my oldest even, hey, why do you think I procrastinate on this? They'll probably say, duh, it's this.
Absolutely, an outsider opinion. And, if you are thinking of using a coach or a mentor, they are trained to ask you to really, I don't want to say challenging, but they do want a nation for some people, might be decades in the making, and they might not necessarily know. They might think it's what's in front of them right now, but it could be something traumatic from years ago. It could be a past relationship that was toxic that has dampened their confidence, and they don't feel self-worthy, and therefore they procrastinate. So yeah, it's about really drilling down and maybe going right back and finding out what's causing it, so you can move forward.
Yeah. How are confidence and self-belief related to procrastination? Oh, did I lose you? Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, good.
For a second.
All right. No worries. No worries. All good. So how are confidence and self-belief related to procrastination?
I think that when we continuously procrastinate and stress, it can naturally impact our confidence because, like I touched on before, things past, things like self-belief, limiting beliefs, it can prevent us from moving forward. For example, if we think, we're lazy, for example, which is a common thing that people say when they procrastinate, I must be lazy. Well, no, you might not be lazy. It's a term that you put on yourself as an excuse for doing what you're doing. But actually, evidence have you got that you're lazy, for example? You might not be lazy. There's probably something else going on. So always challenge it with evidence when you're dealing with low confidence. What is it that's causing the issue, really? Because the more evidence against procrastination or lacking in confidence or self-belief, the more you can challenge it. It's about what evidence have I got, basically. And also as well, when you're dealing with low confidence and low self-belief, it sort of puts you in a bit of a cycle. You start to think other negative things about yourself, and it can kind of just spiral out of control, I find, and cause problems in various different ways. So I think that's the main thing, really, that you need to kind of find out what's causing the low confidence. So that goes back to the root cause thing. The more you become self-aware, the more that you know what is causing the issues, the more that you can move forward. That's the main thing for me in terms of confidence. And I've also spoke to a lot of different people that have coached, people that, I'm good friends with. There's a lot of people going through a lot of different stuff in the world, right? Everybody's got their own stuff they're dealing with. And people, especially now with the economy the way that it is, people are feeling the hit a bit confidence-wise. Some people don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. Some people have been made redundant and they're trying to find jobs. Lots of people are dealing with different things, high costs, energy bills, the lot. And I think it is impacting confidence in a big way. It's about maybe trying to look at the situation that you're in and go, do I truly want, do I want to be in the situation that I'm in? Chances are you probably don't. So what can I do, or what can I change about the situation or myself to step into a different situation, I think, We don't have to conform to what's going on with society, do we? We don't have to accept the situation. We can decide enough is enough, The thing is with rock bottom, it's rock bottom for a reason, isn't it? There's only one way, and that is up. And I think when you get there, it's time for a change, I think. So, yeah, if anybody's feeling difficult to try and I get cut off then, or am I good? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
I heard a bleep and I thought something could happen.
It's kind of like it'll lag behind for a second and then it'll catch up. So I think we're okay. We'll just keep going forward. That's all good.
Okay. Discord virgin here, so
yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, if you're dealing with low confidence with whatever's going on in the world, whatever's going on in your life, just say to yourself, it's time to put yourself first and focus on self-love, and be, nothing has to be static,
Yeah. What
strategy? That's the question anyway.
Yeah. So what strategies or techniques do you recommend for boosting your own confidence and your belief in your abilities?
I think the ultimate strategy is trying to ultimately find out what your values are. So when I coach people, I ask people first and foremost, what do you value in the world? And you'd be surprised how many people cannot tell me what their values are. So what do you value? Why are you here? What is your purpose? What do you want from life? All of those things. And if you're not sure what a value is, I'll give you a few of mine. So, one of mine is self-respect, the respect of others, and that's a big one for me. And it's one that I wish I would have thought about a lot when I was younger, because, I was bullied, toxic work environments, relationships, and I probably could have avoided a lot of that had I have really thought about my values and stood by them. So yeah, that's the number one thing. Establish your values, get some help if you need that. Spend some time on it as well. Don't rush it, really think about what it is that you value. But also as well, question if they are your values or if they're values that you've been brought up with, because we can almost embody our parents' values and values, and some of that can be good, but it's good to establish our own, because we're the next generation, right? And it's all about what we want and serving ourselves. So yeah, spend some time on your values. And, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to this. Strategies to help you is going to be based on you, but it's about understanding yourself, connecting with yourself, and spending some time on building your awareness, building self-love into your routine, because, sometimes we can all be in a position where we grind it out day in, day out. We go to work, rinse and repeat, pay the bills, and that's fine. But trying to factor in some self-love is important, because we're gonna approach burnout otherwise, and then we're no use to anybody then, are we? So we get one life. So focus on your values, focus on self-love. And that's something that I've had to do, and I've learned the hard way about self-love and values. So I know that if you can establish that much earlier on, it's going to benefit you in the long run, rather than being mistreated or heading for burnout. So yeah, those are some of the strategies I would say. Focus on yourself, focus on that awareness piece, and then you can other strategies on an individual basis to move you forward.
Yeah, I love the idea of really establishing your values and examining whether they're yours or something that you were brought up with, whether that's from your parents, your grandparents, the community around you, because that's something that I've had to really examine for myself, having been brought up in a very religious community, very religious family, not necessarily, that way now. And so that's something that I had to confront within myself, is what of this is just been beaten over my head by my parents and grandparents versus what do I really truly believe and what matters to me. And I think that a lot of people don't have to take that step. Like, they're not ever confronted with something to say, hey, you have to figure out what you believe and everything. And if it's something that you aren't ever asked to evaluate, why would you? Kind of, So I think that's a really good recommendation, is to really sit down with yourself and say that. And Bitemark says, growing up in a small town in Texas will definitely need reevaluation. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because
you've been to Texas. Well, I've been to Houston.
I'm sorry.
I touched down in Houston only for a short while. I was
good.
A little bit of travel around California and the sort of southern states of America, where the weather's really good and stuff like that. So,
not here. The weather is not really good here.
Better than the UK, where it rains probably 75, if 80% of the time,
I don't know. I feel like I would take the rain if I could avoid the 110 degree temperatures that we've been having. I would take rain year round. Give me that UK weather. I'll abandon this.
Opposite of what you got.
Yeah, yeah. It actually rained. I was telling you this before, but it actually rained here just yesterday. And it started raining, and my power immediately went out. And still, I was sitting there looking out of my windows, like, you know what? I'm okay. The power can stay off for as long as it rains. Like, just let it keep raining. I don't even need power. I'll sit here and just watch it happen, and I hope that it never stops. It's just been so dry. Oh, but yeah, Texas is not the best. And there are a lot of little pockets in Texas where there are some real values that get instilled into children that get really, I don't want to say beaten into children because that implies something that I'm not trying to imply, but really kind of, I don't know, intentionally instilled in children as they're growing up in Texas, especially some of the smaller towns and some of the more farm-related towns and that kind of thing, which is kind of where I grew up. So it's one of those, take the time and see what you really care about and what matters to you internally versus just adopting everything you were brought up with. I think that's a great thing to encourage people to do.
Empowering as well, can't it? When
yes.
you sort of find your own mind and your own voice, it's empowering, and who doesn't want that, right? To kind of feel empowered to do your own thing, make your own decisions. You know, that's kind of what we've been building towards being adults, right? Moving away from being children. So
yeah, yep, absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you have a background in HR and that you didn't like the kind of firing part of it. And now you're a coach, which eliminates the firing part of it, right? So how can someone who still is in that corporate world and a corporate job or something like that, how can someone navigate those challenges and avoid the redundancy and stress while maintaining their confidence and motivation?
good question. One of the things that I wish I would have done a lot more is speak up. So I used to kind of harness a lot of the baggage and the difficulties that I was facing, navigating life and stuff myself, feeling like I had to prove something, I had to be strong and stuff like that, which is not a bad thing to try and build resilience, don't get me wrong, but you know, help is there, whether it's friends, family, members of HR, whoever it may be that you feel you can trust internally or externally, but speak to people because, you know, I've been in jobs and stuff in the past where I haven't reached out and I've not only ended up with burnout, but I've had to go off work with stress and it's really like hit me. So try and maybe prevent it rather than try and cure it and try and get in there early. You know, and you'd be surprised. A lot of people have been through similar. You know, they can listen to you and guide you and help you think of things that you've never thought of. And, you know, it can be tough. We don't have to go through this alone at the end of the day. And also going back to the values again, you know, that's a big one again, isn't it? Because if you know your values are, you know, whatever it may be, self-respect, self-worth or whatever, if you can remind yourself of that, you can then go, okay, well, you know, this job's no longer fitting my values, you know, we're no longer intertwined. What am I going to do about it? Okay, well, actually, I'd really like a job in X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, like, let's start thinking about a plan and little goals to get there. So thinking about your values again. And also as well, you know, when you do start to move along to another job or whatever the goal is, just make sure that you check in with yourself regularly. You know, how's it going? Are your goals sort of aligned with SMART? You know, is it realistic? Is it achievable? Don't put too much on yourself. And, you know, slowly but surely, you know, you will get out of the situation that you're in and move towards the life that you desire. You know, we don't think of it at the time because, you know, sometimes we can be in that negative mindset of, you know, I'm in this situation, it's really difficult and dark right now, we can't see the wood for the trees, but slowly but surely, if you keep taking steps, you'll get away from the grey cloud and step into a, you know, more happy lifestyle that you desire. So, yeah, just keep going. It doesn't define you at the end of the day, redundancy. It's a situation that is outside of your control. You know, I know I've coached people in the past that have been going through redundancy and, you know, it's really impacted them in a big way. They've ended up with things like imposter syndrome, procrastination, etc. And it's because they think it's that have caused it, when actually no, like the redundancy is a bigger picture. It's affected you and your colleagues. It's not just about you. They've not just plucked you out. It's a situation outside of your control. There's nothing that you could have done to change that. And the more that you can accept that and go, yeah, it's outside of my control. Let me focus on me and what I can control. That circle of influence. You can start to move past it. And, when I think back now, that one individual that was dealing with redundancy and imposter syndrome, they were going through a course at the same time. Like the timing wasn't great, to be honest with you. And, in the end, they managed to get a new employer, one that they were happy with, and continue with the course and go on to pass it. So it's just a hurdle, isn't it, that we've got to navigate. Hurdles of different sizes, don't get me wrong, but nothing has to be static, nothing has to be fixed. So yeah, my main things is speak to people and just know that the situation doesn't have to be forever. But be prepared to do some work though. If you sit still, nothing's going to change. So yeah, you need to kind of find that fire in your belly and push along. So.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned imposter syndrome a couple of times, because for me, sometimes those will go hand in hand. Like if I'm feeling that imposter syndrome coming on, I think I'm more likely to procrastinate on something if it's related to something that I like. If those two feelings are related to the same work task or home task or whatever, I feel like that can really increase the chances that I will procrastinate. Is that a real thing? Is that really tied together somehow?
It's a real thing. It doesn't matter whether it's imposter syndrome, procrastination, or many of the other different types of stress. There's loads of different types of stress, right? Stress comes in various different ways, And there is a link. Like if you've got some stress, everything else is going to feel difficult. Everything else is going to feel like a hurdle. And it's just sometimes going to be one thing after the other days like that, right? Where we feel like everything's going wrong. And, sometimes things do go wrong in life. It can be inevitable, but it's just about navigating it. But yeah, there is a link towards imposter syndrome and procrastination, for sure. Because people go, well, actually, can I do this? And then they don't do it because they don't feel like they can do it, and it's just
right.
So yeah, they're all intertwined. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's about building that awareness and going, oh, actually, I'm procrastinating right now. I'm stressing. Let's just take some deep breaths. Let's just close the eyes. Let's just really pull this back a little bit, gain control, and then let's start to work through it and breathe through it. And whether it's removing yourself from the environment or whatever it is that you need to do, just get yourself away from that situation and reset and then come back.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about stress, and whether that is feeling overworked or just other stressors, like you were just saying, there's lots of different versions of stress, right? So how can someone manage stress effectively if they let's say that they can't change their job or something like that, but particularly in the context of helping them overcome procrastination? How can someone work on that?
So ultimately, you need to try different things. And again, going back to that quote, don't do the same things and expect the same results. So try things, and if it's working, great, stick with it. Don't change what's working, right? But if something isn't working, say, for example, to-do lists are not your thing. I mean, they are mine, but say they're not, then find something else. Sometimes people might look at things like the Pomodoro technique, which is, about setting a clock for 25 minutes, working as much as you can, and then having breaks, and then coming back and resetting the clock. So it's about finding things that works for you, but don't do the same things, because you're just going to end up more and more frustrated and go nowhere. And if it is to-do list, for example, keep it realistic. Like I said to you before, I've been in jobs where I've had this never-ending to-do list, and I was partly to blame for that, right? Being a perfectionist, being a people pleaser, not wanting to say no, and then off the back of that, toxic managers give me more and more and more. So it's about trying to keep them realistic. So if you're in that situation like me, try and speak up. as difficult as it can be, if you feel like you can't go to your manager, then go to somebody else within the team and have a little conversation. Maybe they can guide you. Maybe they've dealt with that particular person before and they can help you navigate it a little bit better. But yeah, don't end up in swimming to-do list because you're just going to not get any further and just feel crap and then dread work the next day, etc. So that's one thing. Speak to people. And, trust your gut as well. So if your gut is telling you to do something or not do something, listen to that a little bit more. There's been times where I should have listened to my gut and I didn't, and then actually it's come back to bite me. So try and be a bit more receptive to that and go, what do I feel propelled to do in this situation? And go with it. It might not always be the right answer. Going with your gut, I think, can be a big one because you're really leaning into that intuition, aren't you? One of the things that works for me as well is trying to commit to no more than 3 priorities a day. So when you've got that to-do list, which are the 3 most important? Now that may vary from day to day. Some day it might be 4 or 5, but the key thing is don't have too many priorities because you're not going to get them all done. So what are the most important? And if it isn't a job, speak to your manager and just say, I really want to prioritise my work. I think it should be this, this and this. Do you agree? Are there any deadlines? And kind of do it that way and have open communication. And also as well, try and celebrate any wins. We're very quick to, focus on the things that need to get done, but how are we actually crediting ourselves? How are we actually celebrating successes? It doesn't matter what it is, celebrate the success. People I've coached in the past, I've said this to them and they go, what do I need to reward myself for? You've worked hard, you've done the things that you said you were going to do. Reward, what do you want? It doesn't matter if it's a little bar of chocolate or a trip to Barbados. Like, what do you want? Because that reward makes you get hungry for more success and more achievement. So you get this nice little loop going. There's more to life than just going to work and doing the things. What makes you happy, and celebrate that, lean into the reward side. And, ultimately as well, try and remember that there is always tomorrow. Anything that you can't get done today, as long as you've not sat back and just let it fester, if you've done what you truly can do for the day, there's always tomorrow to do more. We're not robots, right? We can only do so much. So yeah, always sort of lean into that and go, okay, well, there's tomorrow and I'll focus on that tomorrow, and then just make sure that you do those things tomorrow. Don't keep deferring and put it off. So yeah, those are my tips.
I feel like even robots can only get so much done in a day also.
Sometimes make mistakes. They're not always.
Yes. Yeah.
You think the chat at GPT, that's not always spot on.
It's made plenty of mistakes. I give the example of I use ChatGPT to help me with sometimes an Excel formula or something, and it won't give me the right thing, but it gives me something that I can look at and say, okay, well, I just need to change this or that, and then it's going to work in Excel the way that I want it to. But it doesn't give me the thing that's actually going to work. It just gets me a little bit closer than I was at the moment.
Apparently the paid version is better, but I've not dived into it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to pay for it. Sorry. I'll just wait until they improve the free version. It's fine. It gets me close enough. I love this comment from chat. Bite Mark says, if everything is high priority, nothing is high priority. And that's very true. And also what you said about talking to your manager and saying here, I've identified these 3 things as a priority for my day or week. Do you agree with that? As a manager, I can't tell you how happy it would make me to have one of my employees come to me and say, I think these are the priorities. Do you agree with that? Is there something that I should do differently? I would love that. That would be phenomenal. That would be great.
Being proactive as well, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah.
It shows that being proactive, and it's having that conversation, because then you as a manager can go, actually, I would like to focus on this other thing.
Yes.
And then they know that they're on the right track and pleasing you. And
yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, and I don't micromanage my team. I try to help them, kind of enable them to learn on their own and to prioritize on their own. But having a check-in to say, like, this is what I'm focused on. Does this feel right to you? Should I focus on something different? Gives me an opportunity to say, yes, I love those priorities. And if you'll make sure to focus on this with this priority and this with this priority, that'll really help me in my ultimate goal of supporting you as well. So, or I can say, great priorities. Here's a resource to help you with this one. Or, hey, make sure you pull in this person to help you with this one. Like, it just gives me a chance to help you before you get there and say, I don't know where to do next, because maybe I could have helped you at the beginning of the task instead of at the end when you're struggling. So, yeah, I like that.
Prevention better than cure again, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before they really need the help. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned to-do lists, and I wish it's called like Gremlin or Goblin, or have you heard of that to-do list creator and you can pick like your neurospiciness level of breaking down your to-do list. Oh, okay. Hold on. I think it's Gremlin to-do list. Let me see if I can find it. Goblin tools. Okay. Hold on. Goblin tools. Let's see if that's the right one.
There's tons of to-do lists out there. I mean,
yeah.
I've dabbled with a few, and I personally tend to just like it simple. So I use Microsoft To Do. So I use Microsoft To Do. I can have different lists for my travel, for my job, for whatever. So I tend to use that just because it's really easy, but each to their own on that one. You know, I'm sure Goblin is absolutely fine for some people, but just try it and see what works for you, you know?
Yeah, so the thing that I like about the Goblin Tools one is that you can put in, I need to find a new OBGYN. And you can break it down between one little pepper or 5 big peppers for how micro do you want to go with these instructions. And if you put that in, like if I just put in find new doctor and I call it one spicy level and I hit go and I hit it, it breaks it down like, okay, you need to research new doctors in the area, read reviews and ratings of doctors, check if they accept your insurance, make a list of potential doctors, call the doctor's offices and talk about availability, and then schedule an appointment with the chosen doctor. But if you change that to like a 5 spiciness level, come on, change it. Maybe I have to delete it first because it's find new doctor. Yeah, so then it breaks it down into, okay, you're going to have to do all of these little other tasks. So if you're fine with just saying, I need to find a new doctor, great. Use a regular tool for you. If you need it broken down to a level that it's like, I don't know what to do next, a level 5 on just the same to-do list of find a new doctor starts with open a search engine website. Type in find new doctor, press enter or click the search button, look at the search results page, and you can check off each one of these as you go also. So it really helps break it down to say, here's everything that I need to do. And by the time you're done with it, it's either walked you through how to do it if you were not sure where to start or not sure where to go. But then also you get to, so this is a personal thing, but I get to check off a bunch of little boxes.
Satisfying for the
yes,
for that control element. But yeah, it sounds like a good tool, to be honest. You know, I am used to setting goals and stuff, you know, HR background. So for me, a simpler tool works. But if you're really new to like goal setting, goal setting, and you just don't know what the steps are, then that sounds like it's a really good tool for newbies and people to check out, or even people that are not newbies, people that just need that sort of structure. You know?
Yeah. You could probably even type in something like, how do I set a goal for work? And I'll bet it'll give you some steps.
It'd be good because not everybody knows about SMART goal setting, right? Or what the purpose of it is. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say that you are a person who does not procrastinate or you don't struggle with procrastination very much, but you have a sister, a mother, a daughter, a friend who does struggle with procrastination. How can someone be a supportive friend or family member to someone who does struggle with that?
I think the key thing is not be judgmental. And I know it's easier said than done. And I know people say things in a caring way sometimes, but if you just use me as an example, when I've been stressing and procrastinating and things are going on in the past, what I really needed to hear is, breathe, you can get through this, maybe let's think about the evidence, those really supportive sort of questions. In the past, I would have things like, what are you stressing for? What are you procrastinating for?
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. Like, you're asking me a question, and deep down, I don't think I truly know. So, think about the questions that you're asking before you say it, because it does make a big impact. Don't be judgmental, and, lend an ear if you feel like you can help, and be patient and give the guidance. If you can't, if it's going to bring you down and you're not in that mindset, then maybe sort of help and guide them towards somebody that can. Not everybody is the kind of person that can listen like that. Some people are of the mentality of, oh, you just got to deal with it yourself and stuff like that, and that's probably not what you want. So only do it if you're prepared to do it and you can help them. Otherwise, guide them to somebody that can. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I like that, because it's definitely easy to say, well, why haven't you just done it? Why haven't you just found a new doctor? Why haven't you just finished that task at work? Just do it. Like, it's easy to just say, like, just do it. It's not necessarily helpful.
Yeah, that just do it line is pretty much it in a nutshell. I've heard that a few times, and it's like, even if you're not procrastinating or stressing, just do it is not always a simple thing. A robot might just do it, but a human has got different elements to think of, even outside of procrastination or stress, that involves more than just doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like Bite was saying with that Goblin Tools thing, she's used that to say, well, here's what it's like for someone who's neurodivergent in this way. You might just say, oh, I find a new doctor is the thing on your to-do list. But for me, literally my next task is opening my browser. And then my next task after that is typing things in. And so you never know what someone's to-do list in their head looks like. You never know what level of detail they have to go into. You never know how difficult it is for them to keep going on their task list. And that's the kind of thing that you just don't know how other people process stuff. You don't know what they're dealing with that day that's distracting them. So yeah, I think that's really helpful. Sometimes a super helpful sister might just make a phone call because they know that's difficult for their sister. Yes. Yeah. If you need someone to make a phone call, you can ask someone to make a phone call.
I'm coaching somebody at the moment who's got ADHD. And one of the things that they said to me is, and this is quite typical ADHD, they have shiny object syndromes. They're always distracted by the next thing. And, there's pros of having ADHD. A lot of the time people can multitask and stuff like that and problem solve. But, this person's problem is that they put too much pressure on themselves, they do procrastinate as a result, and they've got this shiny object syndrome, which means they get distracted from what they truly want and what they truly need. So because I know that about the client, when they reached out to me recently and said, I'm worried because these things that we agreed on my action plan have changed because of X, Y, and Z, I said, that's okay. Life changes. Let's focus on these things that are coming to your life now. Let's deal with this. Let's put the 4-week plan on the back burner, and we'll deal with that down the line. Priorities shift, and that's okay. If I'd have said to him, oh, we've got this 4-week plan, must do the 4-week plan, then actually they're going to end up with overload and be in the same situation that they were in before they came to me. So yes, about priorities can shift, and it's what is most important. And if something's really pressing, deal with that now. Let's deal with some more stuff later. So that's a big thing, and this person, had they not been working with me, they may have done all these things and just carried on in that zone, procrastination and taking too much on. So yeah, take a step back and prioritise and deal with what needs to be done, or what you feel that needs to be done. And everything else can wait.
Are there exercises or resources that you feel like everyone who has experienced procrastination could benefit from doing more often?
I feel like we touched on a lot of this already.
We did. We talked about a lot.
Yeah, we talked about a lot. But again, the Pomodoro technique, I've used that in the past. Personally, it doesn't work for me because, and the reason it doesn't work for me is I take breaks anyway. So I tend to listen to my body, work through what I need to work through, and then if I get stiff, I am getting a bit older and stuff, I'll get up, have a walk around, get a drink and come back anyway. So I don't tend to use that, but I can see for people that don't tend to tear themselves away from the computer how that's going to be beneficial. So if you are procrastinating and you're struggling with time management, consider using the Pomodoro technique, see how it works for you. So you can bring those regular breaks in, bring a bit more structure to your working day. And also I've said before about working with a coach or mentor, and I gave you that example a minute ago, it can help you when you can't see the wood for the trees, you're stressing, procrastinating, you've got a lot going on. Having that confidante, that can guide you and support you, not judge you and understand you. Because like we said before, right, family and friends, they love us, it's great, but sometimes they don't understand what we're truly going through. They've not been through themselves. So finding somebody that doesn't judge you, they've been through similar, that can help you and want the best for you, can just kind of guide you and navigate you on your journey so you don't feel alone. So that's another one. And also I said about, I don't know if I've said this before, I don't think I have, but on my website I've got a procrastination planner. So if anybody is procrastinating, I've got a 7-day free procrastination planner. And what that does is over the period of 7 days, it gives you challenges and things to think about to help move you away from procrastination. And on my website, it pops up. So if you want it, you can get it. And also I've got a goal and mindset journal, which is completely free as well. There's tons of resources in there for procrastination, stress, goal setting and more. And also as well on my website under free resources, I think I said this before, I've got the human design on there, which again, if people want to delve into human design, they can get the report, and it can be a great thing to sit down with your coach with, because it can give you clarity on your life purpose, your life goals, what kind of person you truly are, because we think we know it ourselves, right? But sometimes do we really? Because like I said to you, people don't know their values and their purpose. They may not feel like they know what they're here for. So there's tons of resources on my website, feel free to check them out. And yeah, those are my tips.
I like that you have the planner and everything on your website for free. I think that that's really helpful. And a lot of the resources that we've talked about and the methods that we've talked about are pretty common things, but if you're a procrastinator, sometimes you don't put those into place. So I would encourage everyone, if you're not sure what Pomodoro is, if you haven't looked into it, there's tons of apps, like tons of Pomodoro apps, plenty of free ones too, some that you don't have to pay for your phone, for your web browser, or whatever you want to do. But look into those. I mean, it's really something that you don't know if it's going to work for you. It works for my kids. So if I tell them, we're going to clean for 15 minutes. That's it. Just 15 minutes. It's an egg timer. Yeah, get an egg timer. So, just a little bit of time. They are so productive all of a sudden for that amount of time. It's fantastic. Where if I just told them, you're going to clean this whole room, it would never get done, ever. 15 minutes later, I would come in there and they'd be playing with dinosaurs, But if you give them a timer, so it's just something to look into and see what works for you. I think you have to figure out what works for you, and that takes some time.
Great that you're utilising your children to do some of the chores. I love that.
Well, listen,
there's another tip,
Yeah, so most of the time I do that whenever it's like, you need to clean up your room because I can't walk to your bed right now. They have their chores and stuff that they do, and if they've made a big mess in the living room, they do have to clean it up and, that kind of thing. But mostly I use that when I'm like, you have to clean up your room because it is a complete mess that I can't see the floor in. But that's too big of a task, right? My kid the one that I'm mostly talking about is my 9-year-old. But even for my 16-year-old, if I were to say, like, go clean your room, I want it to be spotless, that's too big of a task to expect a child, no matter how old, to say, I know exactly how I'm going to clean my room. They don't have a plan for that. So you gotta help them.
Reward at the end. Do you give them a reward? Do you say, if you clean your room, you can play with your dinosaurs?
But I mean, it depends on it depends on why they're having to clean their room. If they're having to clean their room because they've just made a big mess, then usually no. But they get monthly rewards, kind of like I'll buy them a new game every month. So it's kind of, I reward good behavior on the whole. I don't reward necessarily specific tasks, but maybe I should. I'll start implementing like ice cream after your room is clean.
Or healthy treats sometimes.
Yeah.
Too bad treats.
Oh, I mean, they're both pretty healthy eaters, so I don't worry too much about that. Like ice cream is definitely, they treat it as a treat. So I think it's fine, but yeah. You'll get a high five. I like that. Finish this up and you'll get a high five. Yes. Is there anything that you do now in terms of self-care to prevent procrastination?
Oh, absolutely. I think, like I say, the biggest one for me was traveling the world. So changing my life, putting myself first is a big one. So whenever I feel the procrastination come in, because there's no cure for procrastination, right? Let's just be honest here, there isn't a cure. It's a mental health condition, and whatever the mental health condition, it can be triggered. It's all about knowing your triggers and managing it as best as you can, right? So whenever the procrastination comes in now, I try and challenge it with evidence and go, yeah, but you're traveling the world, you change your life, you're capable, you're worthy, you can do this. Maybe weave in some affirmations, however you want to do it, but just kind of bringing yourself back to common ground and go, yeah, you're worthy, you turned your life around, you're capable of doing all this. Like, things will happen in good time when you're aligned. Things might not always happen the way you want it first time round. And this is a big thing for me, because not only am I a procrastinator and a perfectionist, I'm quite impatient. So that's something I have to manage as well. It's not a great mix, is it?
Right.
So, I might procrastinate things in the past, but I also want it all now. It's a mix, but,
I feel that.
yeah, but it's just about reminding myself of that and going, well, actually, look, you turned your life around. It might have been years in the making, but it's all happened when it's supposed to happen. If I would have gone travelling and stuff years ago in my teens, I might not have appreciated it more. Might not have had the impact that it's having now. And in the way that I can change my life and change other people's lives. So, big believer of the divine timing and just kind of keep pushing through things. And that's the biggest thing for me, really, reflecting on the journey, reflecting on who I am, doing the human design and understanding my core purpose and really aligning with that. And yeah, I'm on this mission to, change as many lives as possible, and I'm not going to stop until I do that.
I love that.
I want as many people as possible to push past procrastination. So, yeah.
That's great. That's a cool mission. I like that. Help as many people as possible. That's kind of what I like to do as well. So that's good. No, I'm not getting treats for you, Kitty. I was just getting my magic wand. So it is time for the magic moment. If you could wave this magic wand and eliminate one common opinion or misconception or theory surrounding mental illness, disabilities, or talking about mental health, what would it be?
I think one of the biggest things for me, and this is quite personal to me in a way, because I've got friends in this sort of situation, the biggest thing for me is men's mental health. So, there seems to be, even now, this stigma that, men have got to toughen up, they've got to be in a certain way, and you've obviously got the Andrew Tates of the world, and I know it's controversial. I believe it's like Marmite, I neither love or hate him. He says some things I agree with, he says some things I disagree with. But that's the biggest thing for me, that yes, men derive from cave person days where they were the hunter or the provider and stuff, and that's ingrained in us, and there's elements of that is okay. What isn't okay is the fact that men have got to completely suppress the feelings and not be able to release that, because, you know, I've had friends that have been suicidal in the past, and I hope this doesn't trigger anyone. And it's horrible to see people in that way. You know, we're all humans at the end of the day, we all have feelings, but it's almost like men feel they have to suppress them no matter what. And yet one of the highest suicide rates is men, you know, over women. That's the biggest thing for me. I'd like to be able to remove that, and for men to be able to be who they are, express their feelings. It's all about balance, right? There's different varying levels. You know, we're seeing all sorts in the world right now, different genders and stuff like that. But for me, it's all about balance, being able to be who you are, express who you are, without keep getting judgment from people, because that judgment can send people either way. People don't realise how powerful it can be. You know, going back to what I said before about how you question people, how you talk to people, it can literally send people up or down. So that's what I'd like to remove. I don't know if any of your people watching agree with that, but that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like men. Okay, so there's a lot of ways that men have it better, right? Sure, no one's gonna argue with that, but they really do, like the toxic masculinity piece of it, I really wish did not exist, because there's so many times that if someone had just talked to someone else and chosen to get help or seek help and not seen it as, well, if I go to a therapist, that's not manly, or if I tell my friends I'm having a hard time, that's not manly, and felt like it was kind of that forbidden piece of, I'm not going to do that because that makes me less of a man, that literally could save lives. And so that toxic masculinity piece, I agree, like, do away with that shit. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't want it.
I mean, there is the other side of the coin these days where, you know, you've got different varying levels, haven't you, in terms of opinions and masculinity and femininity and stuff. And I'm never going to judge that, be who you are. But if you are the opposite end of the coin and you are a man where, you know, your emotions are getting the better of you too much, then you maybe need to reflect on that and assess that a little bit, you know, maybe sort of bring it back again a bit. So there's different ways of looking at it, really. But essentially, just don't let it control you, whichever level you're at, you know, try and bring it back up a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I would say if you are...
Don't listen to people that don't add any value to you, you know?
Right. Well, I would say if you are on the, you know, what you're calling the other extreme, right? That warrants also talking to a therapist about. Like that is something that you can also get help for. So there's no shame in seeking help. There's no shame in getting help, whether you're feeling like I can't ask for help, or you're feeling like I don't need to ask for help. You probably do, honestly. Like you probably need to ask for help no matter what.
Most of us need help.
Yes, absolutely.
Even me, like there are days, good days and bad days, right? You know, it's about reaching out to your inner circle. You know, they say that you are who you spend the most time with. So surround yourself with people that lift you up. And if people are not lifting you up, reassess.
Yep.
You should be around them, you know?
Absolutely. Well, Chad, I'm going to wrap it up here. So if you have any other questions for Katy, feel free to put them into the chat, and I'll make sure that we ask them before we end here. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and, Katy, I'll post your website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, email. I'll post all of that one more time, so that if anybody wants to connect with you, they're able to do so. And then I'll just...
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll just kind of hand the floor over to you and say if there's anything we didn't talk about or anything that you want to throw out there. I'll just give you the mic for a little bit.
Yeah, so, you know, I'd love to connect with you all, you know, always open to building connections, you know, problem shared, problem halved, and like I say, it's what I'm here for. You know, my values are to help people, it always has been. So yeah, you know, you're going to get my socials, but my website is the main one, which is thewanderingcoach.co.uk. You know, check out my resources, check out my reviews. I'm a real person, traveling the world, you know, living my own life, living by what I say. You know, I'm basically practicing what I preach, basically. So happy to connect with people, you know, and Also, as well, another thing I want to say is we touched on this a little bit before about ADHD. If anybody has ADHD, keep your eyes peeled on my socials because I'm collaborating with an ADHD specialist coach, a really good friend. We trained together, we got the accreditation together in coaching, and we are going to be launching something to help people with ADHD, confidence, and procrastination because a lot of those are intertwined. So yeah, we'd be open to getting people's opinions. We want to create something that helps rather than something off the shelf. So if you want to be involved in that, connect with me and we'll get you doing the survey. So yeah, those are the couple of things I want to say, really. But I'm open to any questions. I'd love some questions, actually. Hit me with some questions. Give me something challenging.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're collaborating with someone on kind of an ADHD or procrastination type viewpoint, because I do think there are not just ADHD, but I am sure there are plenty of mental illnesses that kind of cross with procrastination a lot, or either cause or are caused by even procrastination. So it's really cool to hear that you're focusing on one, that someone and you're working with them to come up with a solution that could help people. I think that that's really neat. And you said that you trained with them, so you know them really well.
Trained with them. Yes, I know them very well. Yeah, we did the accreditation together. We've done a couple of courses together, actually. And yeah, they're just a great person. They have ADHD themselves, but we work together. We complement each other with our strengths, and balance each other out weaknesses. And she even said recently that she's really happy to work with me, and it's given her some fire back. Right? We all need.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Oh, that's really cool. So Bitemark says, do you have a timeline for the ADHD resources? Because I'd love to set a calendar reminder.
Is that the survey that we're doing? Is that what they mean? What does it mean?
No, for what you're working on for the ADHD resources, do you have a timeline on when those will be coming out?
So first of all, what we're doing is we're pushing out a survey. So if anybody's got ADHD or they're dealing with procrastination and stress, then we will be launching a survey very soon to kind of gather your thoughts. So
I see.
It's based on what you need. So yeah, we don't want to do anything off the shelf. I want to give people something that they're going to want, need and use, and it's going to have the biggest impact. So yeah, connect with me on social media because I'll be putting the survey out on there, and then that way you can participate in that. And there's also an option on the survey as well, is if you want to be kept in the loop with anything we do bring out, you'll be the first to know. So
that's awesome. That'll be really good. So it sounds like Bite the answer is click through to some of those links that I just posted in the chat, so you can connect with Katy, and that way you'll be in the know. Sounds like
be in the know. You won't miss out.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Bite also says thank you so much for being here, and thanks for the website and tools. Yes, absolutely. The resources were fantastic. And Katy, just thanks again for joining me here today. I really appreciate your time.
It's been amazing. Thank you everybody for listening, and I hope it's added some value, and I hope I can connect with you all soon.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Even Tacos Fall Apart. I trust the conversation with Katy Andrews brought you valuable insights and encouragement. I hope the discussion resonated with you and served to remind you that you're not alone in navigating life's messy moments. As we wrap up, I want to extend my sincere gratitude for your continued support. If this conversation resonated with you, or the episode resonated with you in some way, don't forget to connect with Katy on her website and social media platforms. And don't forget to make sure you connect with me, MommaFoxFire, and Even Tacos Fall Apart across as well. The links are in the episode description. There's a link to the website. You can find everything there. Wishing you all a wonderful holiday season filled with moments of joy, connection, self-reflection, all the words. If you're struggling right now, reach out to someone you trust or to a mental health professional, and remember that you are not alone. As we navigate through the end of the year, let's practice kindness, understanding, and self-compassion. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations on Even Tacos Fall Apart. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, Even tacos fall apart, and we still love them, and I still love you.